All right, people, we are talking 8th round here at Tankers Fantasy Football. To kick it off here, let's talk about some Theo Riddick.
All in, only holds value in PPR leagues and Theo Riddick. And I mean, if you're an Abdullah hater, and I kind of am, Abdullah just hasn't shown much to us. And I mean, if you are not all in on Abdullah, I guess Theo Riddick is kind of a plug-in play, flex play in PPR leagues.
All right, then we got Russell Wilson here, quarterback off. And I just don't know. I feel like with a guy like Roethlisberger, who we're going to talk about a little later this round here, I just don't see how you can take a guy like Russell Wilson over the ceiling of a Ben Roethlisberger, especially if Martavis Bryant's on the football field.
Even over a guy of a ceiling like Jameis Winston, who just had D-Jax come to town. He's got another year in his belt. Now he's got some O.J. Howard, and I just don't know if I'm looking to get all in on Russell Wilson over either Roethlisberger or a Jameis Winston at this point. We got some Perrine going. I mean, I'm not, and that's a decent upside pick. I'm not really a Rob Kelly guy. I don't think, he's looking to run away with anything here. I think it might take a few weeks, so I'm not sure if you're really looking to run this Perrine out there weeks 1 and 2, but I think it is a very decent high ceiling pick.
Another very nice high ceiling pick. We're talking Devontae Parker of Miami. I feel like it's got to be some time where he finally puts it together with his athleticism that he has to the football field and really stretch out this offense. And for this price to where you can get him, where you can stash him and don't have to start him right away as a flex, I feel like you can finally start really getting about it.
Yeah, here in the 8th round, he can be even a bench player for you. You can just kind of sit and wait and see on Devontae Parker, and that is something that I would be all in on because I just think he has high wide receiver 2 upside, and I know that might be a little crazy, but I am a believer in the Devontae Parker. We got Eric Decker. Well, I know his season went out early last year, and he is aging, but he is moving to a better quarterback situation in Marcus Mariota, and this guy is sneaky.
You look at 2015, this guy never hit single digits in PPR.
Never. It was 11.7.
The entire season.
11.7 was his low watermark in PPR in 2015. Now, I'm not saying he's looking to duplicate that, but this guy
He's going to find the end zone.
This guy is a very sneaky flex play. You're looking at it, all this hype. Rashard Matthews did well last year, and all this hype surrounding Corey Davis coming in. But at the end of the season, I can just feel it in my bones. You're going to be looking at it, and Eric Decker is going to be the top-ranked fantasy wide receiver coming out of Tennessee. I just feel it in my bones.
I think you can write it down here. I feel like his touchdowns are going to be there. He can be that possession guy. And Rashard Matthews, I feel like it was a nice story last year, but I don't know if he's a true go-to guy. And Corey Davis, I feel like will maybe take some time here. I don't know. I feel like even in Dynasty, I'm a little hesitant, but I feel like this year Decker is the Tennessee wide receiver to own.
All in redraft, we're talking about a bench player that could very well make his way into being a very sexy flex play for you in Eric Decker. And we're moving on to another very high upside rookie running back in Kareem Hunt, who I just think he's got to steal the show. I mean, Spencer Ware is just a middling bum. I mean, if I've ever seen a middling bum, this guy is a middling bum. He's just out there. He's just grinding, and it's not sexy whatsoever. And Charkandrick West, I think I even believe in Charkandrick West more than Spencer Ware, and I just don't think Charkandrick West is even close to being a workhorse back, a guy that can go out there and just take it over for you for the season. And I just think Kareem Hunt is an Andy Reid guy. I think they got him in there, and I think by come week 5 or 6, we could be talking about Kareem Hunt in the RB2 discussion.
And the guy I'm absolutely falling in love with here in the 8th round, we're talking to Deshaun Jackson. This is, again, I feel like just this tremendous value with the ditties here. Deshaun Jackson, I feel like at worst, this guy is going to be a wide receiver 3. I feel like that is his floor. in this offense. And if you're drafting a wide receiver 3 in the 8th round here, if he's like your second flex, I feel like he's rocking the second flex of any other opponent you're playing.
We're all in on Jameis Winston this year because he's got better weapons. I mean, I know you can write down Mike Evans for easily going over that 1,000-yard mark, but I think we could be talking about 2,000-yard receivers coming out of Tampa Bay possibly this year in Deshaun Jackson. If Deshaun Jackson get his hands on the ball 70 times, I mean, we're talking about an easy 1,000 yards. And I mean, if we can tack on another 6, 7, maybe even 8 touchdowns, we could be talking about sexy deluxe mid to back end wide receiver 2 Deshaun Jackson going in this mid to late 8th round.
I love it. I really do.
All in on the D-Jacks this year.
Another guy I really love in this 8th round is Kyle Rudolph. I feel like we've said it 100 times, but this guy was the second PPR tight end last year. I know tight ends are down, but still, we're talking. I know we've beaten it, and we just
want you to know because this is ridiculous. The Rainier Games is getting absolutely no respect out there, and I know he holds more value in PPR, but we are talking PPR, and he is going mid to late 8th in PPR leagues. He's getting absolutely no respect, and it's not like Sam Bradford's out of town.
No, I mean, Rudolph turned into the kind of a possession guy in Minnesota. He can find his way in the end zone. And really, there's no guys that came in there except for maybe Dalvin Cook to get some dump-offs. But there's no receiver that came in that's going to be stealing away his red zone efficiency.
No. Next pick, I'm not really on this Randall Cobb. I know this is pretty late, and he has definitely fallen down draft
It's definitely
boards.
the point where you're kind of start looking at his name and say, how bad can this pick really be?
I mean, at least he does have a decent ceiling on him playing with Aaron Rodgers. In this late 8th round, I guess is not the worst thing in the world. I mean, he has fallen a good solid 4 to 5 rounds from this last 2 seasons. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he can somehow regain his... I mean, I know you're going to be running a lot of wide receiver 3 sets for the Packers, so somehow, some way, if he can get back into that touchdowns, that's what kind of he was living and dying off of when he was doing it.
If he can find his way back to that 8 touchdowns, I feel like this 8th round pick isn't so bad, but I really feel like to get back to his ceiling, something has to happen to Jordy or Devontae.
Got some CJ Procise with a decent PPR ceiling coming up next. I know we have said it before, we are not on the Cheeseburger Eddie train, and I know Thomas Rawls is going a few rounds later than this, but if you are on the CJ Procise, and he did show flashes.
He looked very, very nice in a small dose last year.
He did show that burst, and he did show like he could be the guy, and if given the opportunity. But I'm just saying that, I mean, this is definitely a wait and see. I mean, you don't want to be going out there to starting CJ Procise week 1 in your fantasy lineup. I mean, even in 12-team leagues, that is just disgusting. I didn't want to get too vulgar there, so I just kind of hit you with a disgusting.
All right. We talked about Ben Roethlisberger. This is a guy who's going in the 11th pick of the 8th round, and I think I would take him over Russell Wilson probably 10 times out of 10. Because this guy, I mean, if you look at his weapons, he's got Brown, he's got Martavius Bryant back, he's got Bell, who's going to be catching almost 100 balls.
Yeah, 80, 90 balls. If Bell plays 16 games, I don't think there's any way he's not catching 80 or 90 balls. And even a guy like Juju Schuster coming in with a little spunk out there. I mean, if we're talking about guys, I mean, we had Antonio Brown last year, but if you're looking at the guys behind Antonio Brown last year, we're talking about some real dog shit guys like Eli Rogers. I mean, that guy is the broke bums man. We're talking about living under bridges, man. Jarvis Landry and Eli Rogers and this guy. Eli Rogers is not something to be sexy deluxe about. So Antonio Brown, they're getting a severe upgrade. Martavis Bryant can stay on the football field, and I just think the upside of Juju Schuster is much higher than the likes of an Eli Rogers or a dick bum like Sammy Coates.
All right, last guy, talking 12th pick in the 8th round, Cameron Meredith. I feel like he is going to be a target monster. You look at the other guys in this offense. You're looking at Kevin White.
Kevin White. I mean,
You're looking at Victor Cruz. I mean, what are we doing here?
Kendall Wright. I mean, come on, Bears. I mean, Mike Glennon, like we said on another show, if Mike Glennon did dial in his rookie season is all we really have to look at for Mike Glennon. But in that rookie season, he did dial in heavily to Vincent Jackson. If he can dial in to Cameron Meredith, then we're saying Cameron Meredith has to be the number one Bears wide receiver. My God, get out of my face, Victor Cruz. Get out of my face, Kendall Wright. And I mean, Kevin White, I'm just still not 100% convinced he's actually a real person. So we're saying Meredith is, I think you can write Meredith down for 80 catches and 1,000 yards. And we're talking about last pick in the 8th round. I mean, my goodness, we're talking about wide receiver 2 value.
Yeah, he's kind of flirting wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 at this floor.
I mean, he finished as the top 12 wide receiver in PPR 5 times last season. I mean, he had that last 4 weeks of the season, he had 28 receptions for like 380 yards and 2 touchdowns for the dog shit Chicago Bears. I mean, if you can do that with the Bears, I mean, we're talking about the Matt Barkley Chicago Bears. And I mean, I don't think Mike Glennon's going to get any worse than that.
And I don't think the Bears are planning on holding leads in too many games. So they're probably going to be chucking the rock an awful lot, which I think will include a lot of dump-offs to Jordan Howard. But I feel like Meredith is the guy to own in terms of receiver for the Chicago Bears.
Absolutely.
He's the only guy that I'm even considering targeting.
All right, this is a few more guys that you may want to consider here in the 8th round that are going a round or two after that. We hit on Winston a little bit. Maybe some Adam Thielen. I know we're Stephon Diggs is going like in the 6th round.
But if talking 10th round, Adam Thielen,
4 rounds
absolutely
later,
love that pick.
I think the floor on Adam Thielen is even higher than Stephon Diggs. We're talking about 4 rounds later.
He had like a 40-point game as well, so he's not just a nice floor guy. He's shown that he can blow up some weeks.
He can love you sexy out there. Got Corey Davis going into that mid to late 8th, so if you're looking at some high upside rookies, that's something to consider. Another guy who's playing on a bad team is the clear number 1 guy like Meredith. We're talking about Quincy Enunwa going about a round or 2 later, and that is not a bad thing to be about.
The only thing is really that quarterback situation. I mean, McCown, I feel like definitely offers him the most season, but with that said, McCown looked pretty bad.
Yeah, God.
So, I mean, if he can get back to, maybe 2-3 years ago, Josh McCown, then we're talking.
If you can
we're talking back end.
You give me
wide
Brian
receiver 2.
You give me the capabilities of Brian Hoyer, Josh McCown, and we could be talking about back in wide receiver 2, Quincy.
I mean, we could be with the amount of targets that he's going to be seeing. I mean, there's absolutely nothing going on in this offense whatsoever, and they're going to be. We might be talking 2-win Jets here. So they're going to be gone. They're going to be down a whole lot, chucking it.
All right, another couple of rookie running backs who may possibly end up being the workhorses for their team, and Joe Williams and the Mac Daddy, Marlon Mack. And I think there's just decent value to be had there, even though those teams are not really that great at running football.
I'm absolutely all in on both of these picks. I feel like Joe Williams, I feel like he was handpicked by head coach Shanahan. He is falling out of favor with the Hyde. There's talk that Carlos Hyde could be a surprise cut on rosters here.
Oh, my goodness. Word on the street from a very well-known reporter with his hands in organizations, and I just don't. I mean, my goodness, Carlos Hyde could be a surprise cut.
And Marlon Mack.
And if that's the case, I mean, Joe Williams is on the radar, baby.
And we're talking about Marlon Mack. I feel like he, by the end of the season, has to take over this Frank Gore job.
It's hard for me to get all in on a Colt running back, though. I mean, I just think Colt running back ceiling is severely capped.
Marlon Mack does have some explosive to him where he can catch the ball out of the backfield, make guys miss. And I feel like that's definitely what they're about.
Do with that shit offensive line. You're going to need
that's definitely what's going to happen. They're not going to be grinding and pounding much more, I don't feel like.
All right. If you like what you hear, subscribe below. Hit us with some questions in the comment section if you are on that. Hit us with a like. I mean, we are all in it. We are grinding for you people 3 or 4 shows a week, and we ain't even getting fucking paid.
But you can pay us if you want.
To. Well, we're all in for the love of the game, baby. Until further notice.
And we're gonna get some T-shirts going on here.
Oh, they're
soon.
coming. Couple of weeks. They are in the process. We have them ordered.
Let's do it.
Oh,
if you love a shirt, let us know. We can get you that PayPal action.
We're gonna show you the jerseys in a couple of weeks. Oh, they're gonna get you hot, baby.
All right.
I'm getting hard just thinking about them.
Thank you very much for watching. We will see you soon.